If you're standing in your shop staring at a pile of raw steel and wondering whether you're about to spend a good chunk of cash on a bead roller that will sit idle, you're not alone. Most hobbyists and small shop fabricators worry about buying a machine that either can't handle the thickness they need or that takes up more floor space than they have to spare. And the last thing anyone wants is to end up with a piece of equipment that looks great on the spec sheet, but turns out to be a headache when you actually try to roll a bead on a 14-gauge panel. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Eastwood Motorized Bead Roller and Stand tries to solve those exact worries. It's a 36-inch motor-driven roller mounted on a sturdy steel stand, and it comes with a foot pedal for hands-free control. On paper that sounds like the perfect blend of reach, power, and convenience for anyone who does a regular amount of metal shaping. The real question is whether that combination translates into a tool that actually fits into the workflow of a weekend welder, a small auto body shop, or a serious hobbyist who builds custom motorcycle parts. Let's start with the practical side of the machine's size. The 36-inch roller length means you can roll a bead across a fairly wide piece of sheet metal without having to stop and reposition. In my experience, when you're working on a panel that's 30 inches wide, say a custom fuel tank, or a set of brackets for a go-kart, a shorter roller forces you to make multiple overlapping passes, which can lead to uneven bead heights and a lot of extra sanding later. With Eastwood's longer roller you can get a single, continuous bead, which saves time and reduces the chance of visible seams. Power is another factor that trips up buyers. Some bead rollers are hand-cranked, which feels fine for thin sheet metal, but quickly becomes a muscle-burning exercise when you step up to 10-gauge steel. The Eastwood model uses a 120-volt electric motor rated for continuous use. Users on forums have mentioned that the motor can keep a steady speed even when you feed thicker material through, so you don't have to keep fighting the machine to maintain a smooth roll. The foot pedal control lets you keep both hands on the workpiece, a big safety plus when you're aligning a bead around a tricky curve. You press the pedal, the roller spins, you release, and it stops instantly, which makes it easier to start and stop precisely at the ends of a bead. Now, who should actually consider buying this? If you're a hobbyist who already owns a basic hand crank bead roller and find yourself hitting the upper limit of sheet thickness, the motorized version is a clear upgrade. It also makes sense for a small auto body or custom fabrication shop that needs to produce consistent beads on a daily basis, but doesn't have room for a full-size industrial machine. The built-in stand is designed to sit on a standard workbench or a sturdy concrete floor, so you don't have to fabricate a custom mounting frame. In short, anyone who regularly works with 10-gauge steel or thicker, or who values the ability to keep both hands on the workpiece, will get genuine value out of the Eastwood roller. On the flip side, if you're just starting out and only ever work with 18 or 20-gauge sheet for decorative projects, you might be better off with a cheaper, portable handcrank roller. The Eastwood unit's motor and stand and weight, it's not something you can easily carry in a pickup truck to a job site. If you need a tool that's truly mobile, the extra bulk could become a nuisance. Also, if your workspace is cramped and you don't have a dedicated spot for a 36-inch roller and its stand, you may end up fighting for floor space rather than gaining productivity. Let's talk about the hidden trade-offs. The motor is powerful, but it does draw a noticeable amount of electricity. In a shop that already runs several air compressors and welders, you might notice a small bump in your utility bill if the roller is left running for long periods. The foot pedal is a great ergonomic feature, yet it requires a bit of practice to get the timing right. You'll find yourself occasionally pressing too early or too late, which can cause the bead to start or stop a fraction off the intended line. That learning curve is something to keep in mind. It's not a plug-and-play experience the first time you turn it on. Safety is baked into the design. Eastwood includes a safety shield that covers the roller when it's not in use, and the foot pedal stops the motor instantly, which helps avoid accidental burns or pinching. The stand has lockable wheels, so you can move the machine when you need to rearrange the shop, then lock it down to prevent any wobble during operation. Those little details matter because bead rolling can be a noisy, high-torque process, and any unwanted movement could ruin a freshly